Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Well, Cadillac has replaced its ATS sports sedan with this CT4-V. But how does this new V series sports sedan fare when compared to the older generation? So in today's video, let's find out everything in detail about this American sports sedan. But before we move forward, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking that subscription button and make sure to press that bell icon and leave all the notifications on, so that way you will never miss any video updates from my channel. So there are different models available for this CT4 version. So they are the luxury, the premium luxury, then there's this V series, and then there is the Blackwing edition. The Blackwing is more like a hardcore proper sports car sedan version of this CT4. This is more of like a little bump in the performance and a little more changes into the body, like a little, not much, but it's more like the modern day BMW M badge cars that come, yeah, they are more like the body kits and a little bump in the performance, but they are not the true M cars. So this is something kind of that. So let's start from the front. So you get this meshed black grille out here with this big Cadillac logo and a glossy black grille. This is with a black surround around the grille. At the bottom also you would find these sort of wings out here which are in black, more meshed grille at the bottom. There's also a black color trim at the bottom, which is again a glossy black one, and there are also these plastic sort of vent type designs out here. They are glossy, but yeah, they are just the fake ones, just plastic ones, but they don't serve any purposes. And if you notice, you have these cool new lights out here, the headlights, which are completely LED headlight cluster, but they are in this sort of star shaped design. So when you look at it from the side, it continues onto the side profile also, and then the vertical ones are the DRLs. These DRLs also convert into the turn signals, and the main headlight cluster is LED. They are like the dynamic headlight cluster, but the headlights actually look really cool when you look at this car, even from the side or from the front. Now when you see the CT4-V from the side profile, you would notice that it's a really long sedan, and you sit like right out here in the center pretty much, because that front end is really long, along with those long front doors. So on the sides you would find 18-inch alloy rims in this dark gray design, and inside you would find these red calipers, which are the Brembo calipers, but these are only offered in the front disc brakes and not the back ones. The back ones are normal ones. So they are the 4-piston calipers, and yeah, they offer you like really good gripping action. And then there is also this V badging out here, and these side mirrors are power foldable, they are power adjustable, and they also have the blind spot warning inside them, and they are like in this red color. So they are the body colored side mirrors. At the bottom you get a glossy side skirt. Yeah, it really lowers the appearance of the CT4-V, like looks really sporty. And these side doors are keyless entry doors, but not just the front ones, but all four. So yeah, that's a really cool feature. And inside you would find the V badging on the door sills, and you also find the black color surround around these windows, and these tail lights also extend onto the side profile, but I'm going to come to the rear end and explain you. But yeah, from the side, if you see the headlights and the tail lights, they sort of curve into the side profile. Now in the back, let me first discuss about the appearance of this, because I'm really confused between, and I'm not really sold by the looks from the rear, because if you see, like, there is a long body that continues with this trunk door out here, and these lights actually, yeah, they somehow just end out here. I wish they were extended onto this trunk door also, so that would actually make it, I don't know, like what, let me know in the comment section below, what would you change on this rear end, or if you think that this rear end is convincing to you or looks good, let me know in the comment section below. So let's start from the back. You get this small spoiler out here, like a small lip one, it's not that big. You find these LED tail lights that continue from the side profile, and now they go vertically on the back, and then yeah, they sort of have this design, and these are like complete LED tail light cluster that you will find the turn signals and everything in here. There is also the CT4 badging, the Cadillac badging, and also the V badging, colorful one that they have given in the back. At the bottom you notice this black glossy trim, and if you observe the whole shape when you stand right next to the car, when you observe it from the top view, it's actually making like a Cadillac logo, the design in the back. You would find quad exhaust tips, which are like the chromed ones, but the thing is they are not really the quad exhaustives. So behind, if you look, they have put like dual exhaustives, but yeah, they've just put the end tips as, you know, dual on both the sides. But I like the fact that they are very cleverly hidden, because that pipe is not visible when you look at it from a distance, or also when you look at it from the very nearby. So yeah, good job with, you know, cleverly hiding that. When it comes to the visibility, that is pretty restricted that way, because this glass in the rear is pretty sloping, and because the rear is quite raised up, which is why it makes the visibility like yeah, kind of pretty restricted. Now when it comes to the boot space, you can put in this setting 303 liters of luggage, and that is actually pretty, you know, small when you compare it to the other sedans in the category. So but it's still quite even that way. And you also have the scruff plates out here so that you don't damage your bumper, and out here you would find a massive lip, yeah, so which is why putting a luggage in and out is going to be a bit of a task. But yeah, the boot actually sits quite low, but yeah, it's the lip, yeah, which can make, you know, putting the luggage in and out a little difficult. And at the bottom you would find like a toolkit, and that's about it. And on this Cadillac CT4-V, you would find the battery in the back, so there's a cover for that. When you open it, you can, you know, get access to the battery and also the fuse box, in fact. And the rear seats are foldable in a ratio of 60:40, so that can only be done from the front. So when I drop these seats down, so I'm not going to bother with dropping both the seats. So when I drop both the seats down, so you get decent amount of space for putting longer objects. That's about it. There's a bit of a step that you will find out here. It's more of some days when you have longer objects, that's when you can use it, but otherwise this is pretty much the boot space that you can find when you keep the seats up. There are also boot lights which are given out here, and there are also tying points to tie your, you know, heavier luggage or anything. But also these lights that illuminate the number plate out here, those lights at night become like, you know, lights to illuminate the back, you know, the ground. So yeah, that's a pretty, you know, dual use of these lights. So on the inside, there is a very simplistic approach that has been taken on this new CT4-V. So let me start off with the basic material choice. So you get a little harder dashboard out here. It's still a soft touch, but yeah, it's still very hard out here. Also, it's like soft touch but a little harder. On the door cards, there is like true soft touch material, and yeah, it's pretty much in just one color with this orange stitching, and then this Bose design, you know, cover, which is like a metal one. And out here you would find this shiny glossy plastic trim which has glitter inside for some reason in the middle, and it really pops out from here. And there's also this real aluminum plate that they have put out here with this sort of design on it. Out here normal plastic. Out here they've lined it up with the carpet lining. So yeah, it's a real good attention to, you know, material choice that way. I mean, yeah, where, you know, your body parts are going to be touching, that's where they have given, you know, soft touch materials pretty much around. Now when it comes to the driver's display, you would find a conventional 2-dial display, and in the center a huge screen. So those dials are, yeah, quite all right, but yeah, a little simpler one. There was another car which was quite simple in this way, which was the latest car that I reviewed, which is the Opel Insignia. So you can click on the pop-up banner out here and you can watch the detailed review video of that, because that is also one of the top, you know, 5 sedans in the sedan category, the mid-size sedan category. So continuing with this, the information display. So in the center you would find a screen, and that screen shows you quite a bit of information. So the first screen, when you scroll through the menus, you would go through the G-force option. There is a performance timer where you can time yourself from 0 to 100. There's also a lap timer. There's also coolant temperature, oil pressure, transmission fluid, tire temperature, a lot more performance page options. You can edit that also. And then when you slide to the next option, you would find information like your digital speed, your trip information, your fuel range, oil life, tire pressure, fuel economy, follow distance, which shows you in seconds the distance in front of you. There's driver assistance, there's battery voltage, engine boost. Engine boost is when you're going to be doing a launch. I'm going to come to that. So that also, it shows engine hours. Then a blank page if you want to just leave it. Then you can see your media information, your navigation, your phone, and also the settings in which you can change pretty much everything from your units, the speed options, and also the heads up display and everything. So yeah, it's kind of very easy to use interface, and this while on the move you can easily change these options because it's pretty snappy that way, and it's a very simplistic approach. So it's kind of, yeah, all options are right there in front of you. There's also a heads up display which has been given, and pretty much very easy to use. Again, it's got simple buttons on your left side for your heads up display, to change the information, to change the brightness. So when you press that button, you can easily adjust the height of the heads up display, and in terms of the information, you can see your road speed warnings, and then also the media information, the navigation, the rev counter. So that rev counter remains the same irrespective of the different modes you are in, and then we come back to the same one, and then you can even change the brightness of this heads up display. But it's a very bright, crystal clear heads up display, like the fact that that has been kept simple. And also you can see the cruise control information on that heads up display as well. When it comes to this steering wheel, this is a manually adjustable tilt and telescopic steering wheel with these metal paddle shifters out here, real quality ones, and they have this chrome covering on top of it. So yeah, they are really shiny ones, and they are quite long enough that way. So yeah, I wouldn't complain about these paddle shifters. And on the right side you would find the controls for your driver's information display, and also the volume controls at the bottom. And there's also a special V mode which has been introduced. So when you press that, the car goes into the V mode, which is this CT4-V series, what it is about. So that V mode can be customized from this infotainment screen, where you can change pretty much every single change from your dynamic performance to the drivetrain, to the suspensions, to the steering wheel, to the braking action, to the exhaust note also. So this car can artificially play the exhaust note inside the car. So you can change all the different settings. You get 4 different ones, and you can choose what sound you want from that. So yeah, pretty cool that way. And on the left side you would find the controls for your communication and the adaptive cruise control, and that adaptive cruise control can also be switched to normal cruise control by pressing the cross button which is given on your steering wheel on the left side. So that way the steering wheel is pretty nice and big, and it's also like half perforated so that you can easily grip it, but it's a little bigger one to my liking that way. But I don't know, yeah, you get used to that over the time. And it's also leather covered with the black stitching, and then some more chrome bits at the bottom, and a Cadillac logo out here. Now when it comes to the air conditioning controls, again, in the most Cadillac fashion, it's simplified, and it's a dual option. So on your infotainment screen also you can control it, and also there are like buttons given for every single feature. So in order to use that, there's an on off button out here, you can use that. There is also the fan option, there's also the temperature control and the sync button. So this Cadillac CT4 comes with dual zone air conditioning system, and also you can adjust pretty much every single option from this button while on the move. And at the bottom you would find more buttons for your cooled and the heated seats. So yeah, these seats in the front, driver and the passenger, are both heated and the cooled ones. And if you want to use the option from your screen, there is a shortcut button given on the infotainment screen. You can go into that, and you can use the digital option on the infotainment screen. So you can adjust your temperature, you can adjust your fan speed, the flow of air, the on off, the fresh air, and everything from here. So there are multiple ways you can access this air conditioning controls on your screen. There's also a shortcut given on top. There's also inside the menu there is a climate button. So when I come to the infotainment screen, I will show you that as well. So yeah, pretty simplistic approach that way. So whatever you like, if you like the touch screen, you can use that, or if you are a fan of buttons like me. So yeah, it's a win-win situation for both the type of users. So when it comes to this infotainment screen, now this infotainment screen is an 8-inch very crystal clear display, and this again infotainment screen is based on all the GM products that you will find, from your Chevrolet to the GMC to even Opel that way. So you can click on the pop-up banner out here, and you would find a similar version of this operating system on the new GMC Yukon 84. So you can click out here and you can watch the detailed review of that. So yeah, this is an 8-inch colorful display. And first of all, let me show you that you can control this infotainment screen using these dials and buttons which are given like on the move. But the thing is, this screen is quite nearer to you, so you can easily use this screen while on the move. So yeah, it's not that far. And also they've kind of given these dials for your volume and the tracker feature. So those dials are actually quite close to each other, and I sometimes find it really confusing while you are driving. But yeah, nonetheless, they've actually given it closer so that it's easier to operate. So yeah, which is why I find these controls given out here at the bottom to be a little bit, redundant that way, but nonetheless they are given. And if you notice, there are scratches on this dial, and while I was driving yesterday, I realized that when you are driving with your hands down, if you can notice, my hand with the and if you're wearing, like someone who wears like me, the watch on the right hand, then yeah, you see the belt is actually scratching this dial, so it sits exactly where you're going to be resting your hand. So yeah, better like change it like this or like this, and make sure you don't rest your hands on this dial, because yeah, you may scratch that one. So when it comes to this infotainment screen, there's also a shortcut home button given on your screen, and you can just toggle through the menu and the main screen option. So when it comes to actual infotainment screen, you would find the widgets on your screen for your media and also the navigation, the phone, and your air conditioning controls. And when you swipe, you will find options for your audio, in which you can find different settings for your audio related controls. And in order to connect to this infotainment system, you can connect to it using the Bluetooth, the USB. There's also Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is only wired connection. So I know the fact that there is wireless option now available, but that is for the 2022 and the 21 model. So this, I am guessing it's still a 2020 model, which is why we still have the wired version, but I'm pretty hopeful the next iteration will have the wireless option as well. So when you continue, there is also the phone option, and then when you come out of it, you will find the navigation menu, in which the navigation system is pretty snappy out here. I mean, really like the new, as I have mentioned time and again, that GM has a really good navigation, in general the infotainment system that they have figured out, very crisp and clear. I would prefer this also against the Google map that way. It's that good. And then you have the user option, in which you can store all your user settings, and then there is a more detailed setting options in which you can change your time, language, phone, privacy, display, sounds, voice, every single thing. And then there is also the app option, in which you can choose to have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay switched on or off, audio, climate, navigation. Then there is the vehicle settings, in which you will have the rear seat reminder, and then the V mode that I had mentioned, in which you can change pretty much every single option for that V mode option. And then there is a my mode options, which is a part of the different driving options that you get, which I'm going to come to that too. So you can change all the options from this my mode. When you come out of it, you would find the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto feature out here, and then the climate button, which I had mentioned. So you have multiple places using which you can access this infotainment screen, the climate feature from this infotainment screen as well. There are also shortcut buttons on your infotainment screen at the bottom for your media, your phone, your navigation, and also the climate control feature. When it comes to the charging, you will find two USB ports, one type C and one normal USB port that has been given, and one 12-volt power socket which has been given in this handrest. There is also a wireless charger, which is pretty nice and handy, which is a 15-watt charger, so it's going to be really quick. And then there is one more 12-volt power socket, but no USB ports for the rear passenger. Now when it comes to the storage, you can put like 1 liter worth of bottle in the door cards and some more storage on the sides. There are 2 cup holders, but not the flexible ones, but the standard cup holders which have been given. There is also a glove box with this velvet lining inside, real plush, and then this handrest, which is pretty big enough that way to put a lot of stuff. You can put 3-4 half a liter worth of bottle, but the only problem is it opens only on the driver side and not the passenger side. So like if it was vertical, it would have been a little easier, but yeah, out here only the driver would be able to see what you put. And there is also this pouch which you will find where you can put your phones while they are charging using the USB port. So yeah, that is like a tray which has been given. In the rear, you don't really have any storage options in the door cards. Yeah, literally zero, because there is no bottle holder or anything, or no door bins or anything, but there are just 2 cup holders which are given in the center armrest. Now on this Cadillac CT4, you would find 14 speaker Bose music system, and have a listen to that. On this CT4 you get a lot of driving modes, by the way, because I am not even kidding, because you get a ton of driving modes, but you really need to understand how they work. So the traditional modes that you find on your screen would be your My mode, which you can change from your screen. There is Tour, there is also Sport, there is Track, and then there is also Snow and Ice. But here's the catch: the Sport and the Track mode have more modes inside them. So in order to access that, once you go into the Sport mode, you have to press the traction control button twice, but you have to press it at a speed which is like a little 1 second apart. That's it. So you press that and then it enters into this something called as the Stabili Track competitive mode. So I don't know what it does. It makes it more sporty or something apart from the sporty mode. So yeah, that can be done. And then when you go into the Track mode, now when you press again same way 2 times your traction control button, like 1 second apart, and then you get into the Wet mode. Yeah, so let me go that. It's a little temperamental that way, so you have to be a little patient with that. So you go to the Performance Traction Wet mode, there is active handling on. Then there is another mode for your Dry mode. There is also a Sport 1 mode, and then the Sport 2 mode in which the active handling cuts off, and then there is the Race mode in which again the active handling is off. So 5 more modes inside the Track mode. So yeah, it's a little complicated. I mean, normally you wouldn't notice that you had so many modes inside, but yeah, you really have to dig in and understand how they work. So in order to do a launch control also, you have to go inside that Track mode and then into that Race mode, and then you can press the brake and the accelerator, and then you can lift off and do a launch control. I'm going to do that when we start our drive. Now on this Cadillac CT4 you will find a normal sunroof, and it's quite decent enough, and it's pretty big that way. You also get a sun visor which is also extendable. Yeah, you can extend it, and because these doors are long, the sun visors come really handy that way. Now when it comes to these seats, these are leather covered black color seats with this orange piping around it with this Cadillac logo on it, and these are perforated seats because these are cooled and the heated seat also, but they are kind of sporty seats that way. So they have nice bit of side support also, and even at the bottom they have a bit of side support, and they also have this mechanically extendable under thigh support, so you can rest your thighs during the longer journeys. So yeah, really helpful during the longer journeys. And the driver side and the passenger side seat is 10-way electronically adjustable, and also there is a button which is unmarked. So when you press that button, it's actually a massage seat option, and not just for the driver, it's also for the passenger that you get the massage seat option. In the rear on this CT4, things are a little cramped because my head is already kind of brushing against the roof on the side, and if you notice, there is just about enough knee room out here, and these seats are in my driving position, and which is why there is like a little bit of knee room. But someone about 6 feet, yeah, would start struggling in the rear. And there is also not much space under the seats to stretch your legs or slide it under. So yeah, that is a little bit of uncomfortable position when you are sat in the rear. And even in the middle there is a bit of a bump out here, which is why someone who's sitting in the middle, yeah, would be, I am already touching on the roof. So yeah, this is more like for space for just 2 people in the back. And these seats are also like in the sporty design, so they have this side support out here even at the bottom, and there is also a bit of a tunnel out here as well, like substantial one, because this is a rear wheel drive car, which is why there's a tunnel that passes from here. There is also 2 air conditioning vents which are given, but yeah, not much you can do in terms of the airflow control or anything. You can just change the direction of the flow of air, and that is pretty much it. There's also a handrest which has been given, which is pretty broad that way, and it's got 2 flexible cup holders, but this handrest is a little shorter to my liking, and when you put the cups, yeah, there's not much of a space to rest your hands that way. But otherwise, yeah, if it was covered, it would have been easier to use. And in the back you would find the same black colors leather covered seats which are perforated, but they are not the cooled or the heated one, just perforated to maintain that same design in the back as well. These door cards are like soft touch material on the door cards. There is also like plastic at the bottom, and as I mentioned, there is no storage that you will find on these. But apart from that, here's what you can do. Like, these windows roll down completely, so yeah, there's no odd position where they will stop. So I had mentioned there is a launch control on this Cadillac CT4-V. So in order to engage that, first I have to put the car in the track mode, and then I have to press this traction control button twice, which leads me on to other options, which is your wet, dry, sport 1, sport 2, and the race. When you go inside, then only you can do this launch. And now I put this car in drive and my left foot on the brake and build a boost enough that crosses the positive. There'll be a little bit of wheel spin, and then you lift it off and off you go. So there was a little bit of wheel spin also, because there is a lot of sand today. There is a lot of wind and dust blowing around, so yeah, which is why it's making the surface slippery. But you can manage to do 0 to 100 in what is claimed around 4.5 seconds or maybe 5. I don't know, but yeah, that is still pretty impressive. On this Cadillac CT4, you get a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder inline turbocharged petrol engine that produces 325 brake horsepower and 515 Newton meters of torque. And this torque is transferred to the wheels via a 10-speed automatic gearbox, which has an electronic shift and all of that stuff. There is also a limited slip differential which is given in the back, so that makes those launches quite blistering that way. And the thing is, there's also an all-wheel drive option available, but when you go to that option, there are certain things which are not available after that. So mainly the magnetic ride control, which I'm going to be coming to that. So yeah, you miss out on that. So let me come first to the engine and the gearbox combination, because this engine, though it's smaller, it's still a lively one. But the only thing is, it takes around 2000 RPM to kick into those torque that you want, that rich bit of 515 Newton meters of torque. So first, let me put it in the tour mode. And the thing to do is, like, you first have to switch off the traction control, and then it's quite fiddly when you're driving. So yeah, now I am in the tour mode, which is the most comfortable mode, and even the engine settings and suspensions and all is laid back. It's all comfortable. So yeah, the shifts are pretty crisp on the 10 gears. You don't really realize that you are shifting through so many gears, but yeah, there's that bit of torque lag even in the sportiest settings, whichever mode you put it in, the track mode or the detail modes where you are, and you get all the handling and traction control off. But still, there is quite a bit of lag that you will find, especially this is because this is a sporty sedan, and which is why I am considering that it should be able to immediately put down the power, or at least slight bit of gap, and get the things moving that way. But yeah, nonetheless, it's pretty good when I put it in the paddle shifter mode. So for that, again, let me go into the track mode. So when I put it, so now I get a better control of my shifts. The shifts have a slight bit of delay, that's only it, but it's not terribly bad or anything. It's still decent enough. But yeah, you always maintain that 2000 to 4000 rev range, and then once you accelerate, you get that kick and this artificial sound which is kind of blowing into the cabin, which makes things appear a little more sporty than they are, because the actual exhaust note on this is a little muted. That was because it's a 4-cylinder and it's a turbocharged. So yeah, expect a little less crackling and all that from that exhaust. But yeah, nonetheless, when you are in this manual mode with these paddle shifters, and I really like these metal paddle shifters, so yeah, makes things really exciting that way. And you power out, and that tail end, for a moment there was a traction control light that appeared. So yeah, there is that much of slip which is going on because of this sandy surface. But yeah, nonetheless, it performs pretty well considering that it's a sports sedan. But yeah, for a V series, slight hesitation that way when it tries to do things in a sporty manner. When you come to the efficiency from this 4-cylinder engine, you will get on a normal day-to-day run around 9.5 to 10.5 kilometers per liter. That is inside the city. If you go on a longer runs, you can squeeze out anywhere between 12 or at least 12.5 kilometers per liter. So yeah, that's pretty decent for a sports sedan as well. But when you're hooning around, expect the average to be somewhere between 6 and 7. Yeah, that's what I have been doing. Now when it comes to the suspension on this Cadillac, you get the Cadillac special magnetic ride control system, which is a really smooth and irons out all the bumps from the surface. But yeah, it makes it a little too soft, for a sporty sedan that way. Especially for the launch control, that's where it's usually helpful, because it softens down the rear end so that, when you do that launch, the tires actually bite into the surface, and then, you get a proper launch. But yeah, on a day-to-day, it's more comfortable for that. It's very good. But yeah, as a sporty type, yeah, it lacks little bit of that, stiffening when, you are in the track mode also. Let me do a slalom and show you, how it fares, when it comes to, yeah. So it keeps sort of sliding around that way. But yeah, it maintains that, precision that way. It's not really all bad too. So yeah, that way it's a decent job with the suspension, because it gives you a fine balance of, comfort and hardness when you want it. Now, when it comes to the steering wheel, this is a really good steering. I really like the steering wheel setup. Especially for a sports sedan, you need that control and precision, and all that is possible through the steering wheel, because now I know what is going on from the road surface, and when I turn it easily, takes down that command from my steering wheel, and I know that it is doing, because it's giving me the feedback also. And yeah, it's a very poised and agile that way. When it comes to the brakes, because there are Brembo brakes in the front and 2 in the back, so that gives you that launch control, where it locks up the front 2 brakes and it releases the back brakes, and which is why you are able to get that launch control, and which is why this justifies why they only have the Brembo brakes in the front. So let me do a 100 to 0 emergency stop and show you how it performs. Whoa. I can see like there's an ABS active, there's so many other things which have been activated. So yeah, that way the performance is pretty good, because the Brembo brakes are in the front, so you get that lunge the moment you press on that brake pedal. But the brake pedal is a little stiffer to my liking. So yeah, the moment you just step on it a little bit, it just starts gripping it initially, and then 1 inch and it just catches that brake completely, as you saw. So yeah, that's a little bit like for a sporty kind of sedan, you need a little bit of travel, because on the track days you're going to be more on your brakes, and a lot more force you are going to be applying on that brake pedal. Now, when it comes to the noise and the vibration, there is a bit of a noise from those tires for some reason. Yeah, especially when you're going above 100, there is a bit of noise that you would hear. But otherwise, the overall build quality is pretty good, even though the engine is 2.7 liters and it's revving so hard. But you cannot really hear, although you will hear an occasional turbocharger whistling and all that from the inside. But yeah, that's a sweet sound that you want to hear. But yeah, the tires is the only thing, but otherwise it's a pretty quiet cabin. When it comes to the safety systems, you will find 8 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger. There are also 2 knee airbags for the driver and the passenger, and there are also 2 curtain airbags on the side pillars. There is also child ISOFIX points in both the rear seats. There is also lane departure warning, there is lane keep assist, there is also front and rear collision warning, rear front pedestrian warning. There is so many clever safety features like the ABS. There is also the traction control system, there is tire pressure monitoring system, and there is a single camera reversing system, which is pretty decent in terms of its output, because the quality of screen is so good, and the camera delivers like fine frame rates also, so it's pretty crisp and clear. Even at night, it's a very clear screen that way. So yeah, the output I really like in terms of the reversing camera. Now, when it comes to the pricing of this Cadillac CT4-V, so the base version starts from somewhere around 156,500 dirhams, and this particular CT4-V would set you back by 231,000 dirhams. Now, for this sort of money, it's exactly in the sporty sedan categories, where you would find a lot of other options, not to forget the Germans already in that category. So the thing is, if you are strictly looking for a performance sporty kind of sedan, which you don't want to take it on a track day or anything, but you want for everyday sort of to get you a little excited, then yeah, this should definitely be shortlisted, because yeah, it is sporty nonetheless. It is sporty. It's got all the bells and whistles that ways to make it an everyday lively kind of car. But if you are strictly going for the performance and also the track kind, if you're going to be tracking this car, and if you're comparing it to like an option to a German rival, then yeah, I don't think this is still an option like that, because you then have to wait for that Blackwing option whenever it is available out here. It is going to be definitely a strong option against the German rivals. I think that is pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up and thank you for watching this video. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here. And if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care and stay safe.